RGS Exteriors joins Scotty G Thursday from noon to 3 at RGS Exteriors at 4235 Farm Road in West Jordan. All right, DJ's out today. Riley Jensen sitting in. Joining us now, Seattle Seahawks #1 fan. You remember him. He is the big man, Ian Furness. Ian, good morning.
What's going on, man? How are you? Look at you leading the show and everything, man. Look how far we've come over the years.
Over the years, that is for sure. That prepositional phrase is the key to our show, over the years.
has to be the longest running morning show in America, isn't it? My goodness.
Gotta be.
It has to be.
With no end in sight.
No. Despite everyone's wishes, it still continues to trudge on. So
I know. DJ is off today.
Voice, BK. Good. Yeah, I hear you taking some time. I mean, you know, why work this week? It's not much going on. Jazz trade, Super Bowl week. I mean, it makes sense.
I don't think it's vacation. I think it's some other stuff that he's got going.
Okay. All right. Well, good to hear your voice, BK. Good to hear your voice.
So we've got the Super Bowl. Seattle Seahawks back in it. Improbable, I think it's fair to say. And when Sam Darnold came aboard, what were your expectations for this team and for Sam?
Well, I truly thought that. I mean, they were coming off a 10-win season last year.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, it's not like they were rebuilding.
That's why I said somewhat improbable.
Yeah, because I mean, the Patriots, I think, were more of that. Although, you know, the way the NFL works, there's an East Coast centric, you know, view of things sometimes that kind of bleeds into California with the 49ers and the Rams, and you know, but I you know, I'll be honest with you, and we probably talked about this last year. At the end, I was not a big Geno fan. I thought there were a lot of red flags with him in the final year, 2 years, really, in terms of his, you know, how he played, how he handled himself, kind of his priorities. He was a Pete guy. He was never a Mike McDonald guy. You know, what Darnold did, if you take the 2 games out the final year in Minnesota, the final regular season game and the playoff game, was remarkable. And, you know, guys I talked to around the league were, you know, in specifically in San Francisco, Minnesota, and even Carolina, were all like, hey, this dude's got something. You know, like there's something there. There's a reason he was drafted where he was. A lot of good players go to the New York Jets and aren't very good after that because of the New York Jets. And so I expected, I think we talked about at the start of the year, we've all been kind of looking back on what our things were. I saw maybe an 11-win team, you know, 12 tops. But, you know, they've surpassed that. So, yeah, I thought the Rams would be the best team in the division, or the 49ers, but Seattle would be right there. I didn't see a division championship or a Super Bowl. So they've exceeded slightly my expectations, and I think a lot of folks.
Obviously, from the outside in, at least to me as a football guy, I mean, it really looks like Seattle with their defense, with the way Sam Darnold's playing, with the receivers that they have. I mean, I feel like they're going to win this Super Bowl. But when you're looking at it from your perspective, what worries you about the New England Patriots? What is it that's gotten them this far, and what is it that could be the Achilles heel for Seattle? Yeah,
Riley, I think that, you know, like if you just look at just kind of the 2 teams and the general matchup, Seattle's, you're hard-pressed to find a place where Seattle, position group-wise or what have you, isn't better. Maybe the interior of the defensive line, people are saying that a lot this week, but I don't know. I think, you know, the way Byron Murphy and Leonard Williams have played, I think that might be a stretch as well. You know, Drake May's legs can be a problem. There's no doubt about that. And, you know, at the end of the day, these 2 teams were basically top 5, top 3 in most of the basic, you know, categories, offense and defense. I mean, in terms of total offense, Seattle was 8th, New England was 3rd. In terms of points per game, Seattle was 3rd, the Patriots were 2nd. Total defense, Patriots 8th, Seattle 6th, but points allowed per game, Seattle was the best defense in terms of scoring defense in the NFL. Patriots not far behind at 4. So it's just kind of these 2 teams that are very even, at least in terms of some of those numbers. So, you know, at that point, anything can happen. I do think that, you know, Seattle's better at the skill positions overall. They've got, Jackson Smith and Jigba has a chance to win the offensive MVP tonight or tomorrow night, I guess it is. And what Rashid Shaheed has brought to the team in terms of speed on the outside, much less his special teams. A.J. Barner's been a revelation at tight end. Playoff Cooper Kupp is a different animal, by the way, than regular season Cooper Kupp. Like, he's a different guy. So, what he does in terms of the pass game, first down catches, getting that extra yard, his run blocking is really elite, like just crazy elite. But I think if I was to worry about something, it's the Super Bowl and it's this team. And, I was there in Arizona when some weird things happened. So who knows? And I guess the other thing would be just the general thing. When we went back and covered the Super Bowl 48 in New Jersey, if you guys remember, that was Peyton Manning, highest scoring offense in the history of the NFL, all that stuff. No one was giving the Seahawks and that Legion of Boom defense a chance. It was like, boy, they're gonna smoke them, and it was the opposite. Seattle ran them out of the building. So stuff does happen. There's not a lot of back and forth where you can kind of really kind of do a side by side comparison. I will say this: New England's schedule in the regular season was pretty soft, pretty weak, in the way the NFL works it out. Right? It's if you have the worse record you have, the easier your schedule is going to be in some of the crossover games that aren't divisional. So New England had a little softer schedule and got their way through it. But I think Seattle will win, but I think it's going to be closer than people think.
You speak of Sam Darnold, the Jets, but he was also with the Panthers and Niners, and I guess maybe he needed some opportunity to shake off the negative rust from the Jets. And he had the decent season last year for sure, and signs there. He played at San Clemente High down there in San Clemente, California. Now, that's a quarterback factory. You'll never guess who their starting quarterback at San Clemente High is right now.
I know who it is.
You'll never guess, Ian.
I won't even try it. Who is it?
What year did you leave here?
2002. End of 2002. So
okay,
November
so that
2002.
was John Beck was just getting started. I'm sure you remember him at BYU, right?
Yeah.
His son is the starting quarterback at San Clemente High School.
That's just fantastic. Thanks for making me feel older. Wow.
Keep your eye on him.
No, I keep up with all that stuff. Listen, PK, me and BYU fans, we're tight. We're still thick as thieves, man.
That's
I'm still
weird.
keeping track of what's going on.
PK's really close with them too.
Well, I am one because I'm one.
I know. Yeah, I was always welcome down in Provo. They love me down there.
We're
so
talking
I might
to a
come
couple
back
of
and visit.
Cougars here. One from Washington State, one from BYU.
Yeah, Riley. They don't. For some reason, I don't know why I didn't quite mesh with those guys as well as the guys in the red. But man, that makes me feel really old. Thanks, PK. I appreciate that.
A little bit. Actually, that area has produced so many high school really good quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Just that whole Southern California area, and particularly that area too, down there in that Southern Orange County area.
Like Sam kind of comes from that factory down there, and then goes to USC, right? And ends up finally kind of taking the job from Max Brown, who is a 5-star as well, and he's from up here in our neck of the woods,
right.
But. You mentioned Carolina and San Francisco. A lot of the credit for his success goes to his time, his year in San Francisco with Kyle Shanahan, and I think that's really where, which is Kyle Shanahan. You're like, damn, man, I wish that didn't happen. But backing up Brock Purdy and learning the Shanahan system, having a guy that ran a similar system this year as offensive coordinator Clinton Kubiak, that's what happened. He got better. And listen. It didn't end well for Geno in Seattle, and certainly last year with the Raiders was a disaster. But I think you can just look at guys that go to the Jets and they're just awful, and then they go someplace else, with the exception of the quarterback from BYU, that end up being better. But Kyle Shanahan and that year in Santa Clara, where they'll play this Sunday, was probably a huge reason why the Seahawks and Sam Darnold are where they are right now.
Does he have an attitude as far as I'm just wondering, a chip on his shoulder, still feel like he has to prove something?
No.
And what's his makeup, just his personal makeup?
if he does, he internalizes it well. I'll say that. He's probably the most easygoing quarterback, guy I've been around in that position. And, I've been here since 2006 covering this team, and I don't remember anybody like this. We went back and we replayed the day he signed. We had him on the show, and I went back and I replayed that last week just to kind of take a listen to it again. And this guy's just like down to earth, humble, keeps on an even keel. You'll watch him on Sunday. I mean, listen, we know he'll throw an interception. It happens. That's kind of part of his makeup. He's been good in the postseason, but he doesn't get rattled, and he doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. And it's really kind of one of the remarkable things about watching him. And it resonates with his teammates. I mean, Riley, you can relate to this. It resonates in the locker room. And this guy is so massively popular in that room. And for a team that went through the waning years of selfish Russ, and then I would say the same with Geno for the last year and a half, it's a welcome change. And I think if you want to look at one of the intangibles for this team and where they are today, it's the belief in Sam. I mean, Ernest Jones, their middle linebacker, and we all know defense doesn't always get along with the offense. It certainly wasn't the case with the old Super Bowl teams in Seattle. That was oil and water. But Ernest Jones got up and had a passionate, expletive-laden, diatribe about how, great Sam Darnold is, and anybody who wants to argue might as well walk up to the podium right there and take him on, because these guys back him up, man. It's really amazing, and I think it's one of the cool stories of this team, how close they are, how tight-knit they are, and I think that comes from their belief and their love for Sam.
Well, I through the quarterback circles that I'm in, that's exactly the same thing that I've heard. Just how down to earth he is, how authentic he is as a person. I wanted to shift gears just a little bit, and you mentioned a little bit of the East Coast, not bias, but it's East Coast centric for the NFL, right? And we don't hear as much about Mike Macdonald. And what is it that Mike Macdonald brings to this team that's different from past coaches that have won Super Bowls and different than, the history of the Seattle Seahawks that maybe we don't even notice in Utah because we do hear so much about the teams back east?
I would put him in the category. I'm just trying. You know what? If I'm just kind of in terms of personality, I'd almost put him in the Kyle Whittingham world. And I'm not. Listen, that is not a dig, because I know there's probably some fresh wounds there with him going to Michigan. But I just, a guy that's a defensive dude that kind of oozes defensive attitude, but is somewhat, not demonstrative, quiet. The one thing with Mike is, when he got hired, we're talking to guys back in Baltimore that, dealt with him when he was a coordinator back there. And they're like, yeah, don't get too excited, man. His interviews are going to be boring. He's got no personality. I'm not sure if he can communicate with guys and all that stuff. We all knew he was kind of a defensive guru, genius in a sense. And I'll get to that in a second, talking to players. But his personality's really blossomed. He's not Pete. Pete's one of a kind in terms of rah-rah, up and down, here we go, day before the day before, win forever, blah, all that stuff. And that worked for Pete, and it worked for a while here. Holmgren was this massive human being that is we love Mike. Mike's on our radio station. He's part of our radio. We have him on the show. In fact, he's on my show later today. And I love Mike. Mike is a quarterback guru, but an imposing figure. And, you have to be to deal with Brett Favre all those years. Mike's cut from a different cloth. New school, uses new numbers, but the players, man, they bought into this. And Riley, I'll give you this. This is an example of the buy-in for Mike Macdonald. The Seahawks this season during OTAs, minicamp is mandatory. We kind of get them all confused. They blend together. But the off-season workouts after the draft in May and June. There's like 3 days that are mandatory minicamp, but everything else, the OTAs, those are all voluntary. Now, voluntary means if you're a young guy or undrafted free agent, you're there. Also means if you're a veteran, you're probably there every now and then. You're getting your work in, but you're not there. They had 100% participation every OTA this year. And that was different from year one. And year one they didn't. Well, I think the guys that weren't 100% weren't here in year two. They found that out. And guys like Jaron Reed, who's like the sole connection to the Legion of Boom, he kind of is the alpha dog in that room, and he made sure like everyone's here. And everyone said, guys were talking about, we're buying into Mike McDonald, man. We buy into what this guy's doing. And so it's pretty awesome to see that kind of buy-in. I think that just speaks to who he is. As far as the defense is concerned, I'll be the first to tell you, I'm not going to pretend to be all 22 media guy that is breaking down tape, because that's not what I don't know that. I can just tell you what players tell me. And the guys I've talked to, I have Jaron Reed on the show quite a bit. This guy's defense, it's based on a lot of communication. It's very complex. There's a lot of changes and check with me at the line, very much like an offense. And it took two-thirds of the year last year for them to kind of get going and figure it out. But once they got it going and once they got it humming and once he figured out what to do, and then they picked up a guy, Neiman Worry, that fits perfect with his scheme, boom, just like that, it's the number one scoring defense in the NFL. So elite defensive coach, a guy that's able to get the entire room to buy in to the plan and what they're doing. And then they had a great offensive coordinator who's now going to be a head coach next year with the Raiders and Kubiak. It all kind of came together.
You mentioned the Legion of Boom a couple of times. Now, that was noted defense, the cool nickname, big personalities. How does this compare to that?
They're different in the sense that defense was filled with, future Hall of Famers. Bobby Wagner, well, I guess I dare say, first ballot anymore, because we know how messed up the Hall of Fame is this particular year. But Bobby Wagner is a first ballot Hall of Famer based on the number of first-team All-Pros he's had. There's only two middle linebackers in the history of the sport named Singletary and Butkus that have done more within him. So Bobby Wagner's a Hall of Famer. Richard Sherman will be a Hall of Famer. Earl Thomas, debatable Hall of Famer. And then you had other guys on that defense like Cam Chancellor, Michael Bennett, Cliff Averill, that were all perennial Pro Bowlers, not necessarily, Pro Bowlers like Shedeur Sanders, actual legitimate Pro Bowlers. It was chalk.
Shadeur's not legitimate?
Nice shot.
Yeah, not in any way, shape, or form. But those guys were all stars, and and they were all super. And then they filled it in with some other guys. This team's more of some of its parts. Eamon Worry has been a revelation. Probably should have been the NFL Defensive Player of the Year. People try to compare him to Cam because he's a big safety. He's just different. He's a better cover guy than Cam. Not quite as physical. Nobody's as physical as Cam was, but he's close. But they use him in a different way. He's in the box. He's up in the line of scrimmage, but he can cover guys as well in the slot. He's kind of the missing piece that helped them. Byron Murphy, the defensive tackle from Texas, in his second year just blossomed. Leonard Williams looks like he's 25 again. Finally got recognition award-wise by the NFL this season. But they don't have – here's the funny thing. That team that won it, they had two guys in Averill and Bennett that were technically backups, but, just because Chris Clemens and Red Bryant started. But those two guys were double-digit sacks guys, like 10, 11 sacks a year. Which in today's NFL isn't great. Like, it's good. You want to, but it's 20 total. You live with that. That's you're really good from the defensive end. This team's top sack guys had 7 sacks, so they do it. But they had 47 as a team, so they do it by committee, and they do it from everywhere. So they're just different. It's not as star laden as the Legion of Boom, but the results are the same. I mean, the Legion of Boom had that long stretch where they were the number one scoring defense in the NFL. For 4 or 5 years in a row, and this team just did it this year, and probably no reason to think they won't do it the next couple of years as well. So they're different. Personalities are different. They're not as boisterous. They're not as over the top. Right. They don't have defensive backs that are yelling at the quarterback in practice and chirping him the whole time. It's a little bit different attitude, but they're different. But they're really, really a good defense. I mean, they are a really good defense. And if you haven't watched them play, check them out on Sunday, because I think they're going to give Drake May some issues along the way.
I do too. I think Seattle is going to get another Super Bowl winner. I suppose it's the sports gods making up for the Sonics leaving, huh? Maybe that's it.
I don't know, buddy. That doesn't make. I mean, listen. Like, we're on 18 years. We think it's going to be 20 before they come back because it's a nice round number. The NBA is that's how they work. They're stupid and petty, but. Hey, can I ask you? I got to ask you guys a question because my son my son, who was born in Sandy, Utah, Altaview Hospital.
Sure, yeah.
And by the way, PK, you remember him when he was an infant? He just graduated from college.
Nice. Way to make me feel old, Ian.
Yeah, I want to make you feel old too. He just graduated. He's played college football, small college football, won a championship. He's going to be a firefighter, but
Nice.
he's a huge Utah Jazz.
I remember that. I actually remember that.
You saw him a few years ago when he was a little guy.
Yeah.
He wants to know who won the trade. He thinks long-term Utah. He likes it, but he wants to know who won the trade. I need to pass that along to him.
Well, I mean, I always go by, who gets the best player, and of all the players, there were 8 of them. I think that Jaren Jackson Jr. is the best player, that's for sure. The 3 picks, man, they've got plenty of picks. So even if those picks blossom for Memphis or Memphis trades them to get other assets, good on them. You never know what's going to happen. They had cap space, but where are they going to get a player of that caliber? Free agents of his caliber don't really move that much. I don't know that it would have been impossible. Utah still has, I think, the reputation. I think that's chilled. It's not as bad as it once was. I think people have gotten over that and realized with guys like Carlos Boozer and Darren Williams out there saying this is a good place. You'll be fine here. I think that has been basically put to bed to a good extent. It's not South Beach and whatever. We understand that. But I think that they did what they needed to do to make themselves competitive. 4 years of tanking on a proud franchise with a proud fan base that's used to winning was long enough. And now they put themselves in it. Now they don't want Jaren Jackson to play because they got to get that pick. It's top 8 protected or else it goes to OKC. And if the lottery balls fall their way, hopefully they do, they've got a chance to really take a large jump next season and be competitive for a few years to come because their guys are young. So right now, we're optimistic. We'll see what happens.
All right, I'll pass that along. We got to get down to a game again. It's been a few years since we've been down there, so maybe. Do you know the guy Ryan Smith? Do you know him, PK? Can you see him and get me some tickets?
You can. Yeah, I've heard of him. He's been on our show a number of times. He's very media friendly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just check. Say, listen. The guy that used to fill in on your post-game shows when the late great Steve Klauke was doing baseball, like in the postseason. Let him know that I'd love to come down. Maybe I'm a poor media guy. I only have 2 jobs, so I need to get down there.
Well, let us know. We can set you up for sure. You just got to listen to DJ's stories. So thanks for coming on, Ian.
Oh God, Riley, good talking to you, buddy. Take care. You guys do a great job. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.
All right, that's Ian Furness. The Super Bowl, Seattle Seahawks are in it. I would expect them to win, but we'll be watching Sunday, and we'll see what happens. Get you caught up on what we're talking about today, and I guess you can guess what it is for sure. Stay with us, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
I think they're in a pinch with Walker, to be honest.
I think you sign him, whatever offer he gets. I think you probably actually just give him a good offer because the Jazz can negotiate with him even before any other team can. Now, maybe he just wants to wait and see how much money he can get. I do think that's dangerous because teams are actually going to be scared off once they recognize, the Jazz are going to match any offer. Why would I tie money up?
Yeah, I've said that before, but yet I've seen it happen a bunch of times. The Jazz had to give up on Wes Matthews, a really talented guy that they loved, because Portland screwed him with a restricted free agent deal. And they gave Paul Millsap way more than they wanted to because Portland screwed him with a restricted free agent deal. And then with Gordon Hayward, when that happened, he was getting a max contract no matter what.
Yeah, he was.
And so what was the point of that other than just ticking off the player?
Catch Jake and Ben weekdays from 10 to noon on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Slacker radio headlines are brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary. Call them at 801-210-6800 or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. Also got to tell you, this week the world is watching, and you could be watching on your brand new 75-inch smart TV. A big TV, yuck! The KSL Sports Zone wants you front and center for every unforgettable moment. Enter to win a 75-inch TV at kslsports.com/contest. How about that? A 75-inch TV. And for additional entries, listen this week for keywords to be announced in each show. The more entries you have, the better your chance to win. Our keyword today is hockey. Hockey is the keyword today. Listen all day for more keywords and enter to win at kslsports.com/contest. The countdown is on. The opening ceremony is Friday. The big game is Sunday with pregame coverage starting at 11 a.m. Watch it all on KSL 5 TV. All right.
I got a big TV.
There it is, the man, a big TV. I wonder if he's TV shopping today for the big game in the Olympics. 200 inches. Do I hear 300? We'll be back on Friday. So with that in mind, catching you up to date, well, the big story is Jaren Jackson Jr., JJJ. I'm a junior.
Are you really?
I am. Yes.
Patrick Moynihan Kinahan Jr.
I have a J in my middle name. Joseph. Yes, but I am named after my father, who was Patrick Joseph Kinahan Sr., and I am junior. So I don't use the junior too much, but I am a junior. So there you go. The big story is Jackson.
When I had a son, like, I mean, would we think maybe Riley? It's like, no, not even, no. No. Why would we do that? I was like, I don't know.
What a burden. Yeah.
I didn't mean to make you mad. I was just wondering if maybe that was on the list.
I have two sisters, and my one sister's named Patty.
We got Patty and Patrick.
We had two Patricks and a Patty. Yes.
Love it.
Fortunately, there was not much overlap. She was out of the house by the time I was 8 or 9 because she's older. So when people would call, I didn't get many phone calls at the end, but if you asked for Pat in our household, we had to check who it was.
Which one?
Pretty much everybody called him Pat and me Patrick, and then by the time I was 14, my friends all called me by my initials.
They didn't call you Patty?
No, no, my mother made sure that wasn't going to happen. In the Italian custom, they like to do, my uncle, I have an Uncle Teddy, and he named his boy Teddy, and they called him Teddy Boy. And when
we're going to call you Patty Boy?
My mother was not going to allow it.
No.
She told me. She put an end to that. She comes from a massive 10-children Italian family with thousands of cousins and whatnot. And so, yeah, I found out later, she told that's not going to work.
My wife and her family's all from back east. Mm-hmm. And her dad's Greek, half Italian. His name's George. You know what my wife's name is?
I do.
Georgianne. Yeah. I'm like, wow, the creativity.
Good thing it wasn't Jeremiah or something.
Right.
It would have been harder. So there you go. Jaren Jackson, you've come around. You're a little skeptical. You thought it was a bad move earlier in the show. Have you come around?
See, this is what you do to me.
Well,
this is what
know
you
what
do.
You're talking about during
this
during
is
the
the
breaks.
typical,
You're a lifelong Utah Jazz fan. You were down on this trade when you first heard about it.
I was curious.
Okay, what were you curious about then?
I mean, I feel like you're telling me this is as good as the Hornacek trade, and that's a big trade. Like, that's gigantic. That's huge. I should be a little more excited than I am.
Okay, there you go. That's skeptical. You basically said the same thing.
No,
Yes!
I'm just saying the expectation that you're putting on this is a little higher than what I have.
Yuck, are we not saying the same thing here? Wasn't that his form of skepticism?
Yeah, I love it.
Jake, we all know you're scared of Patrick. Stop.
Scared.
No.
Stop flinching and saying don't hit me after you're off the mic.
12, how long have you been doing this? 10, 11, 12 years?
Jake's like, yes, don't hit me.
No, I'm with PK on this one.
You had more skepticism than I have. That's
no,
okay.
you're not, Jake. You're scared. You don't even know it. Intrinsically, you don't even know that you're scared of him.
You tell me I've been brainwashed? Is that what we're going? Okay.
What am I, some
No, this is Stockholm Syndrome. You're in love with your captor.
Am I an intimidating character over here?
You can be that. I will give you that.
You are.
How can I be intimidated?
You are
Just
in
ask
love
anybody.
with your captor. You're in love with your captor.
Come on.
This is gross.
I'm not.
This is psychologically
I love
disturbing.
Jake. It's a mutual
I
love.
know, but you also beat him.
I do not beat him. I counsel him.
You
I try to
browbeat
help
him.
where I can.
You
That's not true.
browbeat him.
I am an excellent
He doesn't dare say
I'm
no
an
to you.
excellent teammate. People, I'm easy
And
to get
after
along
a while,
with. Come
after
on.
a while, Jake hasn't been able to think that anything else would
That's
be
not
acceptable in his
true.
life.
That's not true at all. He's free to voice
He owes it all to you.
He's free
He looks
to
up
voice
to
his
you.
opinion and
He
be wrong if
doesn't-
he wants to.
He doesn't change. He doesn't go against the grain with you. He would never say that I was right.
I am not that intimidating. That's just not true. You were more skeptical than I was. That's what I said.
No, you called me a skeptic. You said I was really mad about the trade and not happy.
I said you weren't sure.
I don't even know what I felt. I just don't feel like it's a Jeff Hornacek trade. I feel like, okay,
Well,
let's
yeah,
see.
Hornacek comes in with 2 first-ballot Hall of Famers, too. We don't have that here.
You don't think Keontae George and Laurie Markkinen are first ballot Hall of Famers?
No. Maybe they'll develop it, but
Well, listen to the skeptic talk.
Hornacek came in when they were literally already first team, first ballot. They were first team all whackers. That's a fact.
Why? Why?
What are you, Nancy Kerrigan over here?
No, I
He's
just
a first
know.
team all whacker.
I just knew. I can't escape this.
You'll never. If you doing a show here, you're never going to escape
How
it.
do you? How did that not get lost over the years? I mean, we've changed buildings like 5 times.
I know.
We've changed organizations twice.
3 times.
He's a
Three
first team all
times.
whacker.
And it's still here.
You'd have to ask him. I don't know how that works.
Typical, Stockholm syndrome to come and beat me. I feel like I'm in kindergarten again. If you do that again, Riley, Jake's going to hit you.
The statues were first team all whackers when Hornacek came aboard.
George Carl,
It's
Kobe Carl, bless his heart,
one of the
was a
finest
first
movies.
team all whack performer.
He's a first team all whacker.
Come on! Stop playing it. They think I'm saying it live.
He's a
It's
first
such
team all whacker.
Ow.
You don't
It
play it
hurts.
enough now that I think about it.
Surprised you haven't made it like my intro song.
My top 3 are first team all whacker. You don't sound like a Debbie, and I'm in San Bernardino.
And there's another one about Dallas somewhere.
But that didn't get saved.
Oh, that's not saved.
No.
The other ones are saved.
Yeah.
Essentially, everything else is there except that one.
Yeah.
I actually had a real experience with almost the exact same thing with Gordon Monson. Where I'm like, hey, where you at? How you feeling? Like in one of my sessions. And they're like, well, I'm just here in California. I was like,
I'm in San Bernardino.
I was like, oh, jeez. And it was,
how you hanging on? Where are you?
I'm in San Bernardino right now.
I had to start laughing in the middle of my session because this person even said, I'm in California. And I'm like, no. I literally started laughing. And I was like, he's like, what's so funny? I'm like, no.
They won't understand.
They wouldn't have understood.
Jaron Jackson's coming aboard, man. I talked to Shane some texts with Austin Ainge. They're fired up, and he's busy right now. We'll see about getting him on next week, and we're excited about that to get going here. We'll have to go through 30 games this season, but then next year the winning is on, and that's sweet. We'll see what level they can win. We'll get your feedback. Stay with us right here. We'll wrap up the show, get you ready for Jake and Ben on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, that was your Mammoth at 50 update. We will do that every day as we get towards the playoffs. Wouldn't it be cool if both teams next spring are in the playoffs?
I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah. I think that absolutely would be
We
awesome.
need a little excitement around here.
Especially that time of year after going 4+ years without the Jazz being in the playoffs.
Is that all it's been?
All?
No, it feels like a long time.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah. It does feel like it's been a long time. And that's what this thing signals. Hope is here, man. before you have actuality, I think you got to have hope that you can do it, right? So we put it on Facebook. What do you think, man? Chase, love it. Next year's team will be tall and long. He's better than any player they could have picked in the draft. I'm not sure about that. I think he's better than any player they could have gotten in the league. And certainly next year he'll be better than any player in the draft because those kids coming in as teenagers.
Right.
But give him 3 or 4 years. Just look at what Deontay George is doing now. What's he in his? George is in his 3rd year, and he's rocking it. He's legit, man.
You think he's got it?
I do. Yeah, I'm sold
got
on
the swagger.
him. I think he does. He's got the mindset.
Package.
He's got the attitude. He's got the game. Yeah, I know it's a little empty calorie-ish and scoring a bunch of points on teams that are losing. But in his mind, these are big games because he hasn't proven himself. I think he's taken a real jump, and I think it's a legitimate jump. Once the team gets better, which is going to be immediately next season, statistically may not be there to what it is now. That's where the little empty calories come in. His statistics could be less than they are right now, but the most important thing is the win total will be much higher. And that's what matters. You want guys playing well and winning situations, then they're legit. That's the definition of legitimacy.
Be really interesting to see.
Yeah, all right.
I'm excited.
That's the voice of Riley Jensen. We appreciate him sitting in. Coming up next is Jake and Ben. Stay with us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.